Friends, thank you for being here today. What if I told you that on this Tuesday morning, February 10th, 2026, as Russian missiles and drones rained down on Ukrainian territory, killing 4 more civilians, including a mother and her 10-year-old son, something far more significant was happening in the corridors of power in Kiev that will fundamentally reshape not just the war in Ukraine, but the entire global defense industry for the next generation? And what if I told you that Ukraine, the nation the world has spent over 1,000 days pitying as a victim of Russian aggression, has quietly transformed itself into what will soon become Europe's largest arms exporter, fundamentally altering the balance of power not just in Eastern Europe, but across the entire Western alliance? Today marks day 1,147 of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but the significance of this moment extends far beyond the daily tally of attacks and casualties that have dominated headlines for nearly 4 years. This morning's assault, which included 11 ballistic missiles and 149 drones launched against Ukrainian territory, represents more than just another escalation in an ongoing conflict. It represents the last phase of a war that Russia has already lost, not on the battlefield, but in the strategic transformation it has accidentally catalyzed within its primary target. While international media focuses on the immediate human cost of today's attacks, which knocked out power to tens of thousands and damaged critical energy infrastructure in the Poltava and Sumy regions, the real story is unfolding in the defense production facilities, research laboratories, and export planning offices, where Ukraine is completing its metamorphosis from arms recipient to arms provider. The announcement that Ukraine will open 10 weapons export centers across Europe in 2026 represents more than an expansion of Ukrainian business operations. It represents the emergence of a new defense industrial power that will compete directly with established Western arms manufacturers and fundamentally alter the strategic calculations of every nation in the European theater. The scale of this transformation becomes clear when we examine the details of Ukraine's partnership agreement with France, announced today by Ukrainian Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov, following meetings with his French counterpart, Catherine Vautrin. The commitment to large-scale joint weapons production represents France's recognition that Ukrainian defense technology, battle-tested in the most intensive conventional war since World War II, now offers capabilities that French manufacturers cannot match. This is not charity or reconstruction aid. This is strategic partnership between equals, with Ukraine providing combat-proven designs and France contributing industrial capacity and European market access. The implications extend far beyond bilateral cooperation to encompass a fundamental restructuring of European defense independence. For decades, European nations have struggled with their dependence on American defense contractors, paying premium prices for weapon systems designed for American strategic priorities rather than European security needs. Ukrainian manufacturers, operating under the pressure of existential conflict, have developed systems optimized for European geography, threat environments, and operational requirements. The result is a new generation of weapons that European militaries find more suitable for their specific needs than American alternatives. Consider the mathematics of Ukrainian weapons production during the past year. Ukrainian manufacturers have increased artillery shell production from pre-war levels of essentially zero to current capacity, exceeding the combined output of all European Union member states. Ukrainian drone production has expanded from small-scale civilian applications to industrial capacity that now supplies not only Ukrainian forces, but has begun filling export orders for NATO allies. Ukrainian electronic warfare systems, developed in response to Russian capabilities, have proven more effective than existing Western equivalents, leading to urgent procurement requests from multiple European defense ministries. The export centers being established across Europe represent infrastructure for sustaining this production expansion, but more importantly, they represent Ukraine's strategy for permanent integration into Western defense supply chains. Rather than simply selling finished products, Ukraine is positioning itself as an essential component supplier for major weapon systems produced throughout Europe. This approach ensures that Ukrainian defense contractors will remain indispensable even after the current conflict ends, creating permanent economic relationships that will outlast any peace agreement with Russia. The timing of these announcements, occurring simultaneously with the heaviest Russian attacks in recent weeks, demonstrates Ukraine's confidence in its long-term strategic position. The fact that Ukrainian officials are planning weapons exports while their cities are under bombardment reveals their assessment that Russian offensive capability is approaching exhaustion. Ukrainian intelligence estimates suggest that today's massive drone and missile assault represents one of Russia's final attempts to achieve strategic objectives through overwhelming firepower before logistics constraints force a reduction in attack frequency and intensity. The strategic implications for Russia are catastrophic and irreversible. Every day that this conflict continues, Ukrainian defense manufacturers gain additional combat experience, refine their production processes, and expand their international customer base. Meanwhile, Russian defense production struggles with component shortages, quality control problems, and the gradual degradation of their technological base due to Western sanctions. The war that was supposed to eliminate Ukrainian sovereignty has instead created a Ukrainian defense industry that will compete with Russian arms exports for the next generation. The broader European context amplifies the significance of Ukrainian weapons exports. The European Union's strategic autonomy initiatives, designed to reduce dependence on American defense contractors, have struggled to generate sufficient industrial capacity to meet European security needs. In the heart of conflict, a quiet revolution is taking place. Ukraine, once a significant but aging player in the global arms market, is undergoing a wartime transformation that's reshaping not just its own future, but the very fabric of European security. This isn't just about survival, it's about innovation, adaptation, and the birth of a new defense powerhouse. Before 2022, Ukraine's defense industry was a legacy of the Soviet era. It had vast factories and a skilled workforce, but was plagued by inefficiency and outdated technology. The initial full-scale invasion shattered this system. Russian strikes targeted key facilities, supply chains were severed, and the country faced an existential threat with dwindling stockpiles. Survival demanded a radical shift. What emerged from the ashes is a decentralized, agile, and incredibly innovative defense ecosystem. The old, massive state-owned factories have given way to a network of smaller, dispersed, and often private workshops. Some are even hidden in underground bunkers. This shift makes them much harder to target and far more responsive to the immediate needs of the front lines. Think of it as a startup culture, but for making weapons. The star of this new era is undoubtedly the drone. Ukraine has become a world leader in drone technology, not just for reconnaissance, but for direct combat. We're talking about everything from small, first-person view FPV drones that can take out a tank, to sophisticated long-range unmanned aerial vehicles capable of striking deep inside enemy territory. Names like the Bober and Lyuti have become legendary, showcasing Ukraine's ability to rapidly design, test, and deploy effective new systems. And it's not just drones. Ukraine is developing its own long-range missiles, like the Neptune, famous for sinking the Russian cruiser Moskva, and the new Hrim-2 ballistic missile system. They're also ramping up production of armored vehicles, artillery shells, and electronic warfare systems. The Stugna-P anti-tank guided missile, for example, has proven to be a highly effective and domestically produced weapon, challenging more famous international counterparts. This transformation is being fueled by a unique partnership. Western aid has been crucial, providing not just weapons, but also components, technology, and funding. But this isn't a one-way street. Ukraine is a real-world laboratory for modern warfare. The data and insights gained from using Western equipment in battle are invaluable, leading to improvements and new tactics. Major Western defense companies like Germany is Rheinmetall and Britain is BAE Systems are now setting up joint ventures and production facilities inside Ukraine. This is a game changer. It's not just about sending aid, it's about co-production. This embeds Ukraine into the Western defense industrial base, ensures a sustainable supply of munitions, and accelerates technology transfer. For these companies, it's a strategic investment in a battle-hardened partner. The implications of this are huge. First, for European strategic autonomy. For decades, Europe has relied heavily on the United States for its security. The war in Ukraine was a wake-up call. A strong, self-sufficient Ukrainian defense industry, integrated with Europe, becomes a powerful Eastern bulwark. It strengthens the entire continent's ability to deter aggression without sole reliance on Washington. Ukraine's battle-tested experience becomes Europe's experience. Second, the global arms market is about to be disrupted. Post-war, Ukraine will not just be rebuilding, it will be exporting. Who wouldn't want to buy a drone or an anti-tank system that has been proven effective against one of the world's largest militaries? Ukrainian weapons will likely be seen as cost-effective, innovative, and, most importantly, combat-proven. This could challenge the dominance of traditional arms exporters, including Russia. Finally, this changes the long-term strategic balance with Russia. Russia's strategy has often relied on its ability to wage a long war of attrition, exhausting its opponents. A Ukraine with a robust, self-sustaining defense industry fundamentally breaks that model. It means Ukraine can defend itself indefinitely, making a military victory for Russia nearly impossible. This shifts the calculation from a war of material to a war of technology and resilience, a fight where Ukraine is proving remarkably adept. From Soviet legacy to a Silicon Valley-style defense innovator, Ukraine's journey is extraordinary. It's a story of necessity breeding incredible ingenuity. As this new defense industry grows, it's not just securing Ukraine's own sovereignty. It's forging a new reality for European defense, or redrawing the map of the global arms trade, and creating a strategic paradigm that will define the 21st century. The world is watching, and what's happening in the workshops and bunkers of Ukraine today will be felt across the globe for decades to come. Thanks for watching. If you found this analysis insightful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into geopolitics and defense. See you in the next one.